Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Rich Perez welcoming you back to another dose of your weekly rundown. Of course, joined in as always by my co-host all the way from the U, Kayson Davis. How you doing, Kay?
Good. I'm doing good. How you doing? How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. It is a special occasion. We have hit 100 subscribers on the YouTube page, and because we have hit 100 subscribers, we decided to bring two guests on to celebrate this one. So first off, let me introduce guest number one. Working on the weekend as usual, Mr. Dante Montilla.
Hello, everyone.
And then guest number two, my man, Jalen. Got that correct,
Yo,
right?
what's good? Yeah, you got it right.
Gentlemen, we got a lot. We are round table talking today. We got a lot to discuss, and we got to start it off with this sweep over with the Phoenix Suns and the Denver Nuggets. Man, first and foremost, I want to say I thought while by definition of the rules, I guess, right? I still think the ejection was a very bad call on the referee's part. Might have played a huge part in the series becoming a sweep. But nonetheless, the Phoenix Suns have swept. Chris Paul goes to his second conference finals in his career. Phoenix Suns back in the conference finals for the first time since 2010. You remember that when Amari Stoudemire and Steve Nash was killing things. So let's talk about it, man. Who wants to go first?
I guess I can go first. I think it was a little surprising to me when me and you had talked about it last week or so. I said that I think the Suns, Chris Paul, need to be 100% healthy for them to be able to pull the series out. And I was pretty impressed with what Denver did against the Portland Trailblazers. So I think we need to have a discussion maybe more about the Portland Trailblazers, because I don't know if this makes Portland look even worse now. Because, I mean, maybe Phoenix looks better, but I think Portland should at least, maybe I felt like Portland should have won that series. But I think it's pretty impressive. CP looks healthy, and I think the Suns have been impressive so far.
I'm not talking about the Portland Trailblazers. I gave y'all my piece on it already.
I think this may make them look like.
You're a big Dame guy.
I love Dame. But
Buffalo lose a Dame.
I love Dame, but the franchise, it's over. Like, they need to blow that thing up. It's done.
Dame.
Well, to speak on that ejection, the ejection was terrible, and the referees have been terrible for most of the playoffs, especially with the flagrants. Like, it's out of control. I feel like it's gonna get overlooked though because they was already down 0-3, but that call was terrible, and the referees have been really bad.
I think it's terrible for the fact that they're in basically a dire situation. They need to get a win, and you eject the MVP, their best player on the team. So it's kind of like they're already down 3-0. It's kind of just like another punch in the stomach, kicking him in while he's down. Like, I mean, who knows if they would have won that game with Joker still in there, but it's like any chance they really did have a win in that game was out the window as soon as you kicked them out. And that wasn't really nothing to get kicked out for.
And they was down 0-3, so now the refs should just get let off the hook because it's like, okay, they was gonna lose the series anyway.
But I don't think that should let them off the hook, because that's like, if I was one of the Nuggets players, I'd feel like we got robbed. Like, obviously, like, we wasn't gonna win the series or nothing, but we were already down 0-3. You gotta kick our best player out in the last game, like, at home. Like, we could have pushed it to 5, maybe. We could have pushed it to 5, maybe. No one wants to get swept.
There's been a lot of bad flagrants.
We get swept on something. You kick that best player out.
I think everything was tragic. I think the whole thing was sad, but I think it all comes back to every game counts, and the Nuggets weren't taking things serious in a few of those games, and it all came to light when Aaron Gordon had to give the speech about the effort, and I think they embarrassed themselves in the beginning of that series. and then next thing you know, you're down 0-3, and you're in a bad spot. And then, but everything was tragic. But I just want to talk about what I did like about it. I love when Jokic went after Booker, and he was telling them, "What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?" And that's a little thing. Because you never really see Jokic get out of character, right? He's really a calm guy. He really is a good guy, and he didn't really mean anything. And then Booker came at his neck like that, and then and then also I think it would have been cool if Booker would have did something, because why are you pressing this guy if you're not gonna do anything? But that's where we're at in today's NBA. But the whole thing was sad.
I mean, I think that series was. If the Nuggets would have ended up winning Game 4, they would have lost Game 5. Like I wholeheartedly believe that. I think.
Phoenix, definitely.
But I feel they got robbed of a chance of pushing it to 5 really, because without the Joker, it was like it's over now.
They did losing that game though, but
they were saying, and I don't care. Like you were gonna.
But I'm saying if I was one of the players, I'd feel some type of way. We could have pushed it to 5. Nobody wants to get swept. We could have pushed it to 5. But pretty impressive for the Suns. And shout out to CP, because I remember a few years ago when people thought he'd never get to a conference finals. So now he made it twice. And I think he's shown that if you put a good scoring guard next to him, he may be a lock for the conference finals every year.
I'm just really...
Whoa. or dude, let's keep it real. Due to injury.
Oh, God, we got LeBron fans in here.
all that.
Hey, due to injury.
We got the perfect guy on the show, too, if we're going to get into this.
The Suns, I mean, not even with the Lakers, too. Jamal Murray was out, so...
Is though, yeah, Jamal Murray is one.
No. We're not using that excuse, because you saw what they just did to the Blazers.
Yeah, but the
Blazers are mid.
The lovable
listen. The Blazers. If there's one thing I can tell you about the Blazers, if you watch them all year, they play no defense, none.
Oh, the Blazers are like Brooklyn light when it comes like score, but they don't play defense. They like Brooklyn light. Like Brooklyn can play with that because they got some elite talent over there. The Blazers, they got a guy who's teetering tier 1 in Dame, and a CJ who's like in between tier 3, tier 2.
Like, think about it. You got Dame, CJ, Norman Powell, Carmelo all on the floor at the same time. It's Canada. Like, come on. Like, the defense is non-existent.
The point being is, too, if that Lakers squad is healthy, we're not talking about Phoenix right now.
I
know Dante's waiting to say something because he's been giving me shit about this all year.
Well, the Lakers, that's the bench with the check engine light. They're really nice, but they were liable to break down at any time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the injuries is part of the game.
I don't even think it's injuries is part of the game. I think the success that they had in the bubble was because they had 2 to 3 months off. AD, his entire career, this guy, street clothes Davis, you know what I mean? It just recently came public knowledge, you know what I'm saying, that this is street clothes Davis, you know what I mean? And then, LeBron, he wanted to take his little vacation again. He wanted to hop on a yacht and come back for the playoffs like Superman, but things don't work that way anymore. You have to be engaged for the 82 games. And
I mean, if AD street clothes, what Chris Paul is, like he ain't too far from the street clothes.
Was good this season.
That's a tragedy right there. We're waiting for the
because Chris Paul was this close to having it done to him again. Like there's always that playoff series he get hurt.
Cinderella's waiting for that clock to hit midnight still,
Yeah.
He's borrowing time, you know what I'm saying? This is a miracle right now.
That's what I'm saying. It might be Chris Paul's chance because he's always the one on the other end of that.
And I mean, I thought it was the first round.
What'd you say, Rich?
I thought that was going to be the case first round. Like game 1, he goes out. He came back, but that was a series that looked like he was done.
He's definitely street clothes CP during the playoffs, but he makes it through the regular seasons pretty fine. AD sometimes can't make it through the playoffs or the regular season.
AD ended because he has a point when he says street clothes Davis. AD ended his New Orleans career on the bench.
Yeah.
That's because they didn't want him to play to get hurt because they knew they were going to trade him.
He
You
was
got
dealing with
the,
injuries.
the shirt that he had that said "That's all, folks." Remember that one?
Mm-hmm.
That was a good one.
But yeah, I think the Suns they get the injuries on their side this year, so that plays a major part. But they've been playing really good, and Ayton has impressed me because I wasn't a believer.
I always like Ayton. I thought Ayton and Booker were going to be a real dynamic duo. The Phoenix Suns' problem the entire time, even before they had Ayton, was they didn't have a point guard. That's why a lot of people that they were going to end up with at least the second pick so they can get a Ja Morant. Didn't work that way. But hey, I'm gonna give a shout out to the GOAT, James Jones. That dude has an eye for talent. He's put together a great basketball team. Like he's reaping the fruits of it. Right?
Hey man, we got a James Jones another finals. What's up, man?
If the Clippers get past Utah, they're going to the NBA Finals. Book it.
I agree. I totally agree with that. I feel like the Clippers is gonna get the Suns out of here. If they come back from 0-2 again, I think they're gonna beat the Suns. But I feel like the Suns will have a better chance versus the Jazz.
I'm not agreeing with y'all. I have not been impressed from what I've seen from the Clippers. I feel like they've been pretty disappointing.
The Clippers are cool.
They have.
They like it.
And I feel like if they do get past the Jazz, the Suns are gonna win. If they get past the Jazz right now, Donovan Mitchell's not 100%, and neither is Mike Conley. Mike Conley hasn't played in this series yet.
I feel he has to play. That series is a toss up to me right now. But if Mike Conley comes back, that would be a huge boost.
Yeah, they haven't even had to deal with Conley yet.
The street clothes all stars. In there.
If in the next series, CP looks like he's healthy and Devin Booker's healthy, you see how impressed they were with Ayton. I feel like as long as those guys are healthy, I feel like the Suns should be the favorite to win that series.
The favorite.
Nah, go ahead.
The Suns won what 60 games this year?
I'm not sure.
Nah,
Close.
they was on pace too, but it was condensed. So, maybe like 50 something.
I can tell you, I'm right.
They say it's official. James Harden is playing tonight.
You did see that.
Ooh, Willis Reed moment for the beard.
Man, I thought that was gonna be Anthony Davis on round one. Then that leg just gave out.
Yeah, like those minutes he gave y'all.
The only difference between this and AD is that AD had like 2-3 days off and he tried to give it a go. At least Harden had like maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks possibly to give it a go.
I'm just scared he make that wrong crossover that night and that hamstring is just gonna.
That's more reason for me to get it. But no, I'm gonna talk about that when it's time. But we'll get into that. I did this first off. The Suns went 51-21 this season.
Yeah.
There's something that I wanted to really get into, and I'm glad I got all three of y'all on here. So there's this. I've been saying this for like a year now. When it comes to point guards, there's a lot of guys that play the point guard position, but when we talk about a point guard and what you want from a point guard, because your point guard is supposed to be your quarterback. A point guard can change a franchise.
Yeah.
Talking about they've been talking about like top 5 point guards in the game today, all time, whatever. I seen something crazy from my man Shannon Sharp. He said Chris Paul, and it's not crazy. I'm not saying what he said is crazy because he didn't put Chris Paul in his top 5 all-time point guards. I'm saying what he said is crazy because you didn't put Chris Paul in your top 5 all-time point guards, but you put Steph Curry in there. I understand Steph Curry plays the point guard position. Steph Curry is the greatest shooter of all time. Steph Curry technically isn't really the point, even though he starts at the 1 for Golden State. He's not really the point guard on that team. Draymond's usually putting him in situations where he's setting him up. Chris Paul, on every team he's ever been on, has taken them from mediocrity to success. Lottery pick with New Orleans takes them to the playoffs. The Clippers, a laughingstock. He goes there. They start to, even though they never went to a conference finals, they were being talked about as title contenders. Houston, he goes there. 1 game away from the NBA finals, and he got hurt. Best record in the league, number 1 seed. Oklahoma City was supposed to be a lottery team a year ago. He takes them to the playoffs, goes 7 with the Rockets. Phoenix has not been to the playoffs in over a decade. First conference finals since 2010. But you gonna put Steph Curry in your all-time top 5 over Chris Paul? That's a little crazy to me.
I think.
I mean,
Hey, hold on, time out. That was a hot take right there, because let me tell you something, man.
All right, who's gonna go first? Jayla?
Listen, Steph Curry, Chris Paul's had a few. He's had a few moments to shut that down. Most notably, 2015, when they could have played the Warriors, and they choked away the series to the Rockets. He was healthy. He was on the court, and that is what started the Warriors' run when they went on to win the championship that year. And as much as I like Chris Paul, and he's taken teams like from the bottom to a really good, Steph Curry has won a championship being the best player on his team.
I feel like you're missing my point, though. I'm not saying anything bad about Steph Curry as a player. He's great. Like he's the greatest of all time. Point guard.
Can I get in here for a second? I think it's the way you're looking at it, Rich. You're thinking point guard like running your
pass
team.
First.
Yeah, you're thinking like a point guard who's running your team. You're thinking like point guard. You're thinking like, but that's not what they're saying. They're saying Stephen Curry is listed as the point guard. He's really a scoring guard.
Yeah. He's the best player that plays point guard.
He's really a scoring guard, but he's listed as point guard. You're talking about someone running the team and being a floor general. Then yes, Chris Paul will be over CP. But they're just talking.
When I'm talking top floor generals, that's all, because that's what your point guard is. You're a floor general. Like
who says you have to be a floor general to be a point guard?
But if in the last decade or so, point guards have changed. Point guards are more scoring guards now, but they're still considered point guards. Westbrook, Lillard, Stephen Curry, all those guys are scoring guards.
You are on this show with me every week. You know how I feel about Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook is another one I say gets disrespected as a point guard too.
Yeah, but the list is just based off like point guard. If it was like, okay, top 5 floor generals and CP wasn't there, I would see your point. But they're just talking point guards in general.
Well, Stephen Curry basically is an outlier, right? He basically redefined the position. No one has played like him ever. You know what I'm saying? But ultimately, he is a point guard. You know what I'm saying? But no one could compare with him in the history of basketball because, you know, no one plays like him. You know, but ultimately, he is a point guard.
So would you put all 3 of y'all top 5 all time? You Steph Curry goes over Chris Paul with everything.
Hands down.
Hands down. Fine with Magic. Number 1 with Magic.
Does Steph Curry transform teams like Chris Paul?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Absolutely.
You know what?
We don't know. We haven't got a chance to see it.
Well, we had a chance this year. But...
We have. How haven't we?
All right. No, all right. But I'm thinking about going to another team and just changing their whole franchise.
Hold on. Let's remember the Warriors were like that. It was a bad team for a while before, and then he got them to be a championship team.
But you got to give Clay. No, that's Clay. Clay and Draymond deserve a lot of credit too.
Of course, you got to have good teammates.
That was my biggest critique of him too. Is that he never, until this year, he had never carried a team. He had actually gotten bailed out a lot. If you remember the Oklahoma City series, when Oklahoma City was up 3-1. Yeah, I'm sorry, Kayson.
He wasn't that Klay Thompson game.
He wasn't the reason. He wasn't the driving force in them coming back down 3-1.
Game 7 though. Don't forget about Game 7.
Oh man.
Don't forget.
I mean, Clay also did save them that game 6 versus the Rockets.
Absolutely. You're gonna need somebody though. That's what I'm saying. Chris Paul's had that. Like he had Blake Griffin, he had the Lob City, and they didn't get the job done versus the Rockets.
Hold on. We love Blake Griffin, but like Klay Thompson, Blake Griffin,
Blake Griffin was well. Don't you forget who Blake Griffin was? You talking about the MVP candidate?
Forget about who Blake. I be telling him all the time, don't sleep on Blake.
No,
Blake was an MVP candidate,
but he couldn't shoot. He was really
counting on Blake.
Oh, you sleeping.
Blake's game is more developed now than it was back then.
You sleeping on who Blake was. You sleeping.
No, Blake's game is way more developed now than it was back then. To
true.
rely on that man as your second option in the playoffs seems pretty tough.
He was an All-NBA player.
Yeah, like sure, it's Giannis's
Jamal
All-NBA.
Crawford, 6th man of the year. You had Reddit, DeAndre. Yo, they had a squad. And who they lose to? They lost to Corey Brewer and Josh Smith going on. You remember that?
Oh, hold on. Go ahead.
Wait, who are you talking to?
No, I'm saying, go ahead, Dante. You was about to make a point.
Go.
Oh no, I was just saying a comment. I was just commenting. The Clippers actually lost to the Warriors in the beginning of the Warriors run there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was that team. And then the Clippers had the meltdown versus the Rockets. They had and that was Chris Paul was at the head of that. He was at the head of that snake.
A couple times. Yo, remember the Clippers had the meltdown versus OKC when Chris Paul had turned the ball over late. That was that year too. They had the meltdown.
Yeah. Everyone's celebrating CP and we love CP, Cliff Paul, great guy, family man. We love him, but he's had his share of meltdowns and we're happy to see where he is today, but it hasn't been easy peasy here. And also he hasn't had the best attitude. He hasn't been the easiest guy to get along with other stars. I mean, with him and Harden, they had a falling out there, that was very ugly, very. And he has a history of that, but that's why he's doing well now because he's with younger guys that respect him and fall in line to what he wants them to do. But he's not the easiest guy to get along with.
And they're winning. So
yeah.
Well, we're gonna see. What if they lose a series? We're gonna see how Deep Book can react on.
Wait. But I'm not. Let me say one thing, Rich. I'm not knocking him for that James Harden thing because, like, if you looked at the situation, it seems like more Harden not getting along with his co-stars than really CP.
That's true.
Yeah, true.
At that point, CP wasn't in shape a lot. Harden was forced to play that ISO ball that we all know him to play, right? What was going on with the Rockets because CP couldn't make it through the seasons. He wasn't in shape enough. He would get hurt, and Harden was forced to play that way.
I think it's possible. I think,
but
Mike D'Antoni deserves a lot of blame for that too.
Mike D'Antoni runs all his teams the same. The way the Rockets played was no different than the way the Phoenix Suns played. And if he gets the Portland job, it'll be no different there.
Mike D'Antoni doesn't get enough credit.
Mike D'Antoni is great in the regular season.
Mike D'Antoni revolutionized the NBA.
He did.
Well, we're seeing.
I would argue that. What he was running was actually being ran in the 80s with the Golden State Warriors when they were doing Run TMT. It's a long time ago, but he gets the most credit for it because we've seen it the most out of him. But that was something that was seen at one point before. The run just wasn't as long.
And he got Jeremy Lin paid.
He did get Jeremy Lin paid, man.
We're not talking about it.
But yeah, all time I got Steph over Chris Paul.
I don't know right now, but I think Rich, you're thinking more of like
what a point guard.
Yeah, what a point guard is, but not point guard
Who's
in
the best?
general.
Wait, Rich, who's the best floor general in the NBA to you right now? Is it Chris Paul?
Now,
Yeah,
gotta be Chris Paul. Look what Chris Paul just did with the Phoenix Suns.
I would disagree.
Who you putting over Chris Paul? As a floor general. Since we're gonna go with that one, floor general.
Luka Doncic.
No, absolutely, positively not.
Yo, the
Yeah.
way Luka runs a team.
Luka Doncic's team have been complaining about how he's not passing the ball enough right now.
Yo, I feel like the way Luka run the team is just like it's unlike anybody else right now.
He runs a team. He runs a team like Harden does. He's really just creating most of the offense because he's just so dynamic. And then you're gonna get
What's
people
wrong with
open
that?
like that. Because like that's not really being a floor. That's being more of a shot creator than a floor general.
He doesn't have a pulse for the team like that. But also, how old is Luka, right? What, 21, 22, 22? So I think that'll come with time. But, he also needs more, a better co-star around him. He's there by himself.
I don't think that the Dallas Mavericks are correctly using Kristaps Porzingis.
And
Oh my God! Don't get me started on that guy, please.
Are you a Knicks fan too?
I like the Knicks, but that has nothing to do with that. Yo, I can't stand watching him shoot 30-foot 3-pointers all game.
I mean, but some people are blaming that on Luka. Luka holds the ball so much that Kristaps is kind of just getting in where he fits in right now. So it's like,
and that's what I'm not correctly using him right now. I think one of the things that actually hurt, maybe if you guys know the resume or pay attention to what he looked like before, one of the things that hurt in the Dallas Mavericks and Luka Doncic is the fact that Steven Silas took the Houston job. And Steven Silas is credited a ton with the success he had with the guards that he's coached.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Yep. Yep. I don't got much to say about that.
Kayson, you told me you thought who you thought was the best floor general. Remember you told me off air.
I told you off air.
Yeah, you said Lonzo Ball.
Stop playing with me. CP is probably. I'm going with CP as the best floor general in NBA right now, and I'm going to throw Russell Westbrook in there second.
I agree.
Say what you want, Jayla.
I completely agree with you, Jalen.
Hey, what about Trae Young?
Absolutely not. He's another one. He's more like a shot creator.
Exactly.
I would call him like a floor general. He's more like a shot creator.
He's
You just draw so much attention that you're gonna get people open. Like you're gonna get people open. Just pass the ball.
I don't know. We had 18 assists last night. Boy, it was dominant.
He's evolving.
Yeah, but he's not a bad passer. So I wouldn't say he's not a floor general at all. But most of his stuff comes off of just he draws so much attention that he just has to dump the ball off sometimes. Like even last night, he's gonna get 18 assists because the Sixers are just so geared up to stopping him right now. So like if he like play it right, you're gonna get people open because they're trying to stop you so much. They're sending double teams at him and stuff.
Yeah, Ben gotta lock him down better. Is Ben Simmons Andre Roberson now basically?
I disrespect my man.
No, man. Let me just.
My guy Ben Simmons, man.
That would just leave it alone.
Jalen trolling.
I'm like half serious too with the way some of these games look.
I know.
But too much time on this topic, so I'm gonna have to step in and move on. That was crazy. I'm not letting it move on from there, but. We got to get into this Clippers Utah series. What has been the pulse of this for you guys? Clippers tied it up for some reason. They like being down 0-2 in these playoffs. They were dominant last night. Obviously, Donovan Mitchell is not at 100%, and Mike Conley isn't playing right now as well. But what have you guys been seeing from this series?
Okay, two things. One, I don't know who's going to win because the Clippers are just so up and down. It is hard to get a pulse on like what team they are. And I feel like this 2-2 is different because the last one they had home court. If they get a game 7 in Utah, I'm not as comfortable with them winning. I feel like I knew they was going to win last series, it being in LA, and the Jazz are more talented than the Mavericks were. And the second point, I don't know who gave Rudy Gobert all that money because every playoffs hit his what he does becomes like null and void in the playoffs because the team goes small and he's standing out by the 3-point line guarding somebody, and then on the other end he can't do anything because they just switch and he's not posting nobody up. But for the regular season, I get it, but I don't know what to make about his effectiveness and what he could do in the playoffs. It's year after year.
Dante, you can go next if you want.
This series, I'm gonna have to agree with Jay on this one. I really don't have a pulse on it. I mean, you can't put your faith in the Clippers. You know what I mean? This pandemic P gonna erupt again like yesterday in the third quarter.
He was going off. He was going off.
Yeah, I don't know who that guy was. You know what I mean?
Somewhere Kayson was like, man, I wish he did that in OKC.
This guy woke up. I don't know what I was watching. I'm like, I don't know if that was old tapes. I don't know, what was going on there, but they were just going in too, and he was hitting from everywhere. He was attacking the rim. I really don't know. And he had it was a killer instinct to him that I really haven't seen, since the regular season in OKC, the year that Dame hit that 3 in his face. You know what I mean? So I really don't have a pulse on this series, and then as it relates to the Jazz, I mean, you had a chance to get these guys out of there, right? And you lost by over 20 points yesterday. I don't think that's a good sign. You don't want to you let sleeping dogs lie, especially when you're going against a Kawhi Leonard, and you just don't want to give this guy a chance. So I can't put my faith in Utah either, right? And Donovan Mitchell's limping over there. Or sometimes he's not limping, and sometimes he is. And then Joe Ingles, and then we don't know what's up with the point guard or Connolly, the bank robber over there. This guy stole billions of dollars the last 10 years. This guy has made big bank in the NBA. You look up his resume. I mean, this guy, he's never there when you need him. He's never there when you need him. So. I really don't,
He said a bank robber.
This guy, these guys get paid big bucks and they never show up. Maybe he could, I don't know. But that's my take on that series.
Well, I think if anyone says they have a pulse in this series, they'll be lying to you. I kind of agree with everybody. I don't know kind of what's going on. I'm more disappointed in maybe the Clippers a little bit. Like I was telling y'all a little bit before we got on air, I feel like the Clippers have been disappointing for as an elite team that we thought they were going to be when they first got together. Some people compared PG and Kawhi to Jordan and Pippen on the defensive end and things like that, and they just have not been that dominant. They are a 4 seed right now, and they look like a 4 seed, but they're really supposed to be like a championship contending team. They don't really look like one. They look like a 4 seed that knocked out the 5th seed because they had home court advantage in the game 7. And now they're going up against the 1 seed, and obviously the Jazz are dealing with some injuries, but I'm going to be more confident in the Jazz here because they have home court advantage, and if it comes down to it, they've played really well at home, and I don't know if the Clippers, I don't know which Clippers team is going to show up. So the Clippers last series was able to play well on the road and steal some road games and things like that, but the Clippers just... They're a very talented team, and I was telling y'all that off air too. They're really talented. I think they're maybe one of the most talented teams here. I don't know what is not coming or cooking together for them, but I feel like they've been kind of disappointing. I mean, it's 2-2. They still have a chance to win the series, but I feel like they've been pretty disappointing. Not even just this year, but last year too. So I don't have a pulse on it, but I'm gonna put my faith in the Jazz just for the fact that they have home court advantage in that game 7.
maybe it's just the Clippers. Like this was the same exact thing with Lob City. Lob City was an extremely talented team, like top to bottom. They had the best role players. They had the best, big three, if you wanted to call it that, a dynamic duo, and they couldn't get over the hump. Now it's kind of the same situation. They got a nice duo over there, very good role players, and it's the same exact thing. They just can't get over the hump. I mean, it's 2-2 right now, but maybe it's really a curse with the Clippers. Like,
yeah, I remember when the Clippers first got together and Pat Bev told Steph Curry we got the next 5 years.
Exactly. Like people thought that team was gonna be real dominant.
He can't even get on the court now.
Yeah, defensively, Patrick Beverly, like you add to Kawhi and PG with those guys, you thought they were gonna be pretty good. They've been really, really, really disappointing to me. I feel like obviously the Jazz are a great team too, but like I'm going back to last year too. They have not been that dominant defensive team that we thought they were going to be. They haven't even been that dominant team we thought they were going to be.
I'll really tell you, I'll give you the synopsis on the Clippers. I think that they were really affected by the bubble, right? And COVID and everything surrounding that entire scenario. You have guys out there that lost tons of weight. I mean, if you look at even Kawhi Leonard, ever since the bubble, remember the cyborg Kawhi Leonard, the guy on Toronto. Remember that guy that was like probably 15 pounds heavier, that could lock up anybody, that didn't miss a shot. You know what I mean? A guy that won a chip by himself. I think when COVID happened, these guys didn't have their trainers. You know what I mean? They didn't have their people there, you know what I mean, supplementing them, et cetera, et cetera. And I saw this guy in the bubble way skinnier. If you even look at his shape now, he's still way thinner. He's still not that same cyborg we all know from Toronto, the guy that wasn't dapping up guys, you know what I mean, because he was so locked in, you know what I mean? And then, a lot of these folks, they went to the Clippers because of the lifestyle of LA, you know what I mean? A lot of these guys, Lou Williams was there. He was always in the clubs. PG went back home. He was happy with his family, et cetera, et cetera. And then when these guys had to get locked down, LA was one of the last states to open up. You know what I'm saying? So these guys have been all pretty much depressed. You know what I'm saying? And I think it really took the air out of the balloon over there. You know what I'm saying? With this whole COVID stuff, and they just never been able to recover to the point that the team is just totally different now. You don't have Montrez over there anymore. A dog, a guy that was gonna get in your face, off the bench. You don't have that chemistry anymore. Lou Will used to come off the bench and just give people just straight buckets. Bev was a different guy. The energy of that whole crew, just went away when the bubble came. You know what I'm saying? And then that's when the Lakers took advantage because they were more of a team. They had more unity. Everyone was more together. But these guys, they just don't have a vocal leader. And the whole team is still in limbo. Now you have a new coach, Ty Lue. We all know Ty Lue. He's that gym teacher that's just rolling out the balls.
Whoa. Don't disrespect my son Ty Lue.
He's not an exorcism guy. He's not an exorcism guy. You know that guy. Go over there and everybody, just the kids do whatever. He comes through with the whistle. You know what I'm saying? Everybody like him. You know what I'm saying? That's Ty Lue. We all know, Ty Lue ain't no Brad Stevens with the X's and O's. We know that, Ain't nobody coming off a pin down or anything. But that's my take on the state of the Clippers, man. That's my take on the state of the Clippers.
Because we all heard the rumor that Ty Lue was like the first coach. When they was down 3-1, Ty Lue got in LeBron's face. It was like, yo, you need to play. LeBron like, 30-something at that point. He's like, you need to play better. And I think Ty Lue was a big part of them winning that championship that year. People talk highly about him.
Cool gym teacher that we're cool with. You know what I'm saying? He's your
Ty Lue, that sub that lets you do anything.
You know that, man.
To his point, though, I don't think Kawhi's look the same. I think he looks a little hurt, even like the way he walks a little bit. I don't know if that injury he had before is still hurting him or what.
Does he even laugh the same anymore?
Yeah, he's John also points on the state in terms of like the other things that have came out about like these like these guys are just kind of doing what they want. Like we've heard the rumors Kawhi doesn't even actually live in LA. He lives in San Diego, and he wants to, and they wait for him to get to the plane and all that.
I think
Might not have a culture over there. Like legitimately, that might be a problem too. They really don't have a culture there.
Pandemic is not too vocal. Kawhi is not gonna, he doesn't talk, right? I mean, we all saw round one when, it had to be Rondo that got in Kawhi's face. You know what I'm saying? When he shot that three, you know what I mean? And Rondo just got here last week. You know what I'm saying? And if Rondo, that's spearheading things, that's not a good sign.
Then every time they show the owner, he looks like he's off an energy drink.
Well, Palmer, man, he got deep pockets, man. He makes things happen, but he got a lot of people in his ears. He got a lot of people directing him places. They got like 50 GMs over there. Lawrence, and they got the guy from Sports Illustrated. They got a whole bunch of stuff popping off over there, man. They're trying, new uniforms. They trying to build new stadiums. They got a lot going on.
But I feel like the Clippers be a worse matchup for the Suns if they move on. But I can't call this series now.
I agree. Let's move over to the East. Last night, another crazy game, and series is also tied up. The Philadelphia 76ers and the Atlanta Hawks. We all knew that the Atlanta Hawks were not going to be an easy out for the Philadelphia 76ers. They won't be an easy out for any team that they face. I actually thought that the Hawks-Knicks series was going to be a lot more fun than it was. I mean, I'm sure Atlanta fans enjoyed it. But that's a game that the Sixers probably wish they had back because they should have won that game with the way things went. Joel Embiid doesn't look, well, at least that second half, he didn't really look that healthy either. I'm sure I'm going to get some comments about that too in this conversation. But, yeah. Where do we go from here? I think the Philadelphia 76ers are still going to win this series. It might go 7 though.
For the big picture, I feel like that game last night was alarming. For this series, I'm not that worried because I still feel like they're so much more talented than the Hawks that they're going to win. But for the next series, whichever one they play, I feel like that game tells me a lot because the Sixers have been one of those teams for the past few years I don't trust. 1, Ben Simmons, and 2, Embiid's health. So that game just let me know that I still have those same questions and I don't feel like they could beat the next two teams. And when I said Ben Simmons is Andre Roberson, no, I was joking, but when you really look at the game and you go deep into like his role, it's almost like, wait, am I on to something here? Because he stands by the basket all game. Now he gets hacked and he can't shoot free throws. He's the defensive stopper, and late in games he can't even handle the ball and set up the offense because he's so afraid he's going to get fouled. He sets picks. he does dribble handoffs. Like he's not the playmaker that he should be. Like he's just a huge disappointment. And if Embiid can't take that team, like he has to play great for them to win the next series. And I don't see it happening.
Well, I don't really have much more to say about the series. Obviously Joel Embiid didn't play well last night. I still think Philly will pull it out. Like you said, I just think they're the more talented team. The Hawks are they have enough weapons to stay in the game and win a couple games, but like I said, I just think the Philly's more talented. I'm kind of on par with Jayla. I think it's gonna hurt them come the next series, but if they end up playing the Bucks, they kind of got a guy on the other side who's kind of a little bit of the same, where you can maybe foul him. He doesn't shoot free throws as well and stuff like that. So I think the Bucks may be a better matchup for
him. I think yesterday was tough because, like I said previously, you like to let sleeping dogs lie, and now you let these guys creep back in. I don't think this series is necessarily going to be won by Philadelphia. I mean, I don't have a rooting interest, but I think Philadelphia is just the better team. I think they're just deeper, you know, they have more size than these guys. They have more experience. They have more on the line here. And I mean, when it comes to Ben Simmons, he's a Gen Z superstar. You know what I'm saying? He's a Gen Z guy. You know, he's like your kids. He doesn't want to eat his vegetables. You know, and he wants ice cream for breakfast. You know what I'm saying? They let him do everything. He doesn't want to shoot threes. They don't let him shoot threes. And you know, he doesn't want to do this. And you know, they let him do anything in that organization. That's the thing with Philly. That you know, they tanked all these years. They did the process, and then now they you know, they let these guys do anything. You know, and so they brought in Doc to bring in a little bit of order here. You know what I'm saying? But I know what you mean. You know, but he's a super talented guy. One of the, you know, he should actually be the defensive player of the year. I know they're gonna give it to Rudy Gobert, you know, but I think it's really Ben Simmons. I think his perimeter D this year has been on another level. I think the guy is one of the, you know, fastest players, even at his size. I mean, his handles. He's totally super uber talented, but ultimately, can he bounce back here? We haven't seen it, but you know, they have home court. They have home court. Philly's a tough place to play in. These guys, they have shooting. I mean, Seth Curry, he's been, you know, it's been phenomenal. They found him in a trash can, you know what I'm saying? And this guy's been, you know, phenomenal. Korkmaz has really been impressive. I'm like, this guy's just giving buckets out there, you know what I mean? So I think they're really deep. It all comes on Joel's shoulder, you know, the MVP candidate, 40 games he played, 20 games. But you know, I'm hoping he could play 3 more games or 2 more. And if he plays 2 games and he does what he's capable of, they should be able to handle business.
Yeah, I agree with that. And then also on Ben, that was a statement from Doc last night to just sit him to end the game. Like, basically like, no, you're not going to ruin this one for us, because we knew what was going to happen if he wasn't there and brought the ball up. He was going to get fouled. It was only a 3-point game. Shout out to Portland. I'm going to give Portland some credit. You brought up Seth Curry. When Seth Curry got to Portland, that's really when his career started to take off. It's a free offense over there. That's kind of what was helped mellow out a lot with his return to the NBA. And he's just been lights out, fantastic. He's a starter now, right? Starting 2 guard over there.
Yeah, Portland and Dallas. He had a nice run, and yeah.
So I mean, this guy goes from Steph Curry's little brother, G League player, to starter and to certified starter in the league. That's different. I think for this series, I'm still going to go with Philly. I worry about it going 7. I'm going to have huge cause for concern. Yeah, honestly, there should have been a gentleman's sweep for them. So last night was definitely, I agree with Jay, as a cause for concern.
All right, well, let's move on to the next series.
The whole series?
What's up?
Is Hunter out for the whole entire series?
Yeah, he's done for the playoffs. Yeah,
that's a big loss for them.
And then they don't have Danny Green. The Sixers don't have Danny Green either for the at least this series.
Let's move on to.
Well, he's gonna miss anyway.
Yeah, they said he's done for like 2-3 weeks, I think. So as far as they stretch out,
maybe he can be back in time for the finals or the end of the conference finals.
Long Island boys in Philly.
Shout out to them.
Yeah.
Did we talk about the next series yet?
No, let's get to it.
That's the final one for the game start.
Yeah. So Brooklyn Nets. Crazy. I was just hanging out with Dante the other day, saying how this thing was gonna end pretty soon. And look what happens.
Yeah.
The Nets and the Milwaukee Bucks is tied up now, 2-2, after the Nets came out firing those first 2 games, looking like something different. James Harden goes down game 1. Game 3, Kyrie Irving goes down. Starting to hear. I got a couple things for this series. So I don't really want, honestly, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I don't really want to talk about the series itself. I think there's a lot of storylines in this series. I think that with the way that things are going for Brooklyn now, this series might end up going 7. But I want to talk about the storylines in this series. Kyrie Irving. Was that a dirty play by Giannis? Because by rule, you're supposed to give the shooter room to land, and his foot was right under him.
I don't think so. It was in the paint. Sometimes that happens
Yeah,
in the paint.
it
He's
was
going for
different. I think it's
rebounds.
different on the jump shot.
Yeah, it's in the paint. He's going for a rebound. He probably seen the shot go up and turn right around. So I wouldn't call it a dirty play. I think that happens often. It used to happen to me a lot in the gym, to be honest.
And I just want to say, man, my condolences to Kyrie and my boy Ferg. I know he's going through it right now after that injury.
Oh, he made it seem like something happened to somebody. I'm like,
Because I know it's his favorite player, so shout my boy out.
Like Glenn Davis said, Glenn Baby Davis.
Don't get me started on that guy. Yo, please, yo.
Buddy, stop Lucky.
It wasn't even the same foot.
Yo, that guy, he did. That's the second time he done that. He did that to Klay Thompson too. He said something about how he couldn't get on the court.
all right, Rich. What's
Tim and Perkins? Special guy.
He just ate himself out of the league.
what was the other points you were gonna make about the series, Rich?
Well, I want to talk about Kevin Durant. Look, because we got to a nice discussion before we started the show about Kevin Durant and what he needs to do in this series. Now it's a little different because it's been announced that James Harden is going to play tonight.
We don't know if that's a good decision though.
Yeah, we don't.
Depending on how effective he is, though.
He's not going to be 100% effective. He's not going to go out there and be James Harden with the hamstring injury. That's what I believe. He's not going to go out there and show up.
I think he's going to come out guns blazing.
So you're saying that if Kevin Durant, what he always wanted was the crown over LeBron as the best player, tonight would be the night to prove it?
This series.
The
series.
Kyrie, because Kyrie's not. We know Kyrie's not coming back. Kyrie's out for the rest of the series. That was also. Dante says he thinks that Harden's going to come out guns blazing. I think if he does that, he's going to be out the rest of the playoffs. I'm not even trying to be funny though. Like for real. Kevin Durant, Kayson's been pointing this out. I think I struck a nerve with Kayson because I was really going at Kayson hard with this point.
Oh, I'm gonna make my points when you're done.
He's ready for the KD. He's ready for the KD combo.
I know he said it too. He's like, yeah, we got a lot to talk about. Kevin Durant did not play well last game. You want to make the point he wasn't playing well before Kyrie went down short. The truth is, as long as Kevin Durant's been was a star in Oklahoma City and a superstar towards the end of his tenure.
Whoa.
I'm not finished talking. I'm not done. Kevin Durant was a star during his early days in Oklahoma City, and by the end of his tenure in Oklahoma City, he was a superstar. Can we agree?
What are the early days? Like Seattle? Kevin Durant. You know what? You know what Kevin Durant was early on when they made the NBA Finals. Kevin Durant was Jason Tatum. He was a bro. He was a superstar when they made the NBA Finals. Are you kidding? He averaged 30 in that series on 50% shooting against the Heat. They lost, but Kevin Durant was balling in that series. There's no way he's not a superstar doing stuff like that. He averaged 30 on LeBron and them.
He's doing the same thing so far his tenure in Boston.
You think Jason Tatum's going into against that Miami Heat team in the NBA Finals and averaging 30 on 50% shooting?
Yeah, I can see that.
Absolutely, positively not. No, absolutely not. No,
KD
was a
I'm not a Jason Tatum fan.
You're saying he was a star when they were in the NBA Finals, just a star?
He was on his way when they made
I'll say superstar.
Let me ask you a question. What star brought his team to the NBA Finals like that?
He didn't carry them to the NBA Finals. That was a collective effort.
It was a collective effort, but he was the main. He was a superstar. He was the main player there. He was the number. It's the same thing with the Warriors. I'll say
Russell Westbrook. I'll say Russell Westbrook at that time was the star. KD
No,
was a superstar.
KD was a superstar. Period.
we about to start having a different conversation. I don't want to do all that. Anyway, so yeah, when he became like a bona fide superstar, we started making comparisons of where is he at on the totem pole with LeBron James. And the point most people have made is that he doesn't do what LeBron James has done. He's never actually carried a team to the
more
promise.
with less convo. And this would be a perfect time to dead that.
There's literally never been a more perfect time to shut that narrative down, because I've seen that. First of all, the 2018 Cavs had no business playing in the NBA Finals.
Preach. This man preaching.
All right.
This man preaching.
Did they burst? Wait, hold on. Did they burst a team in that Eastern Conference that as good as the Bucks?
Bring it up right
I will say this though. You asked that, but I feel like if LeBron, what was it? Was KD's like 4 years ago? LeBron 4 years ago would have beat this Bucks team. I feel.
By himself? No, absolutely.
Yeah, with that same team, that same Nets team, he would have beat them.
Absolutely, positively.
All he needs is a little bit of spacing. Joe Harris, Blake Griffin out there. Yo, LeBron would have beat them. No, come on.
Let me school you real quick. Because you feel me? You younger than me. I gotta put you on game. 4 years in the league. Look, at first Detroit had a pulse on even though they didn't make the.
Bro, that team lost in the Eastern Conference semifinals like 8 years in a row. No, absolutely positive. It's the Eastern Conference Finals.
Well, hold on. The Bucks ain't they good, but they ain't the world beaters now. They just lost second round last year.
They in Detroit. Detroit had already won a title. They had consistently went to the Eastern Conference Finals. And
bro, that team was on the downside. That team was way on the downside at that time.
After LeBron beat that team, they were never the same again. That's why they had to blow that thing up.
Again. What year did LeBron beat them?
2007.
They blew that team up in like 2009. They made it to the Western Conference Finals. Eastern Conference Finals again the next year against the Celtics.
But it was good.
So
they was good.
But they were on the downside of that team. That team was on the way. Like, that team had done what it was done. They lost in the Eastern Conference Finals 8 years in a row.
Okay, they're still really good, though.
Most people don't even remember who was in that starting lineup outside of maybe Ilgauskas. Was Ilgauskas even on the team at that time?
Eric Snow, Larry Hughes.
Most people, not you, Kayson.
Anderson Barrett, y'all.
All right, well, okay.
Polajovic or something like that.
Hold up. So, the 2018 Cavs had no business. That is as less as it gets from what a supporting cast standpoint. I actually think the 07 Cavs were better than the 2019 Cavs, low key.
You got the 07 team. You got the 2015 Cavs.
Nah, the 2015 Cavs is legit.
Who did they play?
They didn't beat them, but in the finals with the Warriors.
Here's what me and Kayson got into an argument about over the phone. He likes to bring up who did they beat. I bring up the Toronto Raptors. The Toronto Raptors had the best record in the league, beat all the best teams in the regular season, had no problem in the first round at all. I think that was a sweep, first round over Washington. Might have been a gentleman's sweep. They go up against the King. He's in their head. All they really did was make one change after that season. Yes, granted LeBron left, but all they really did was make one change. They swapped out DeMar DeRozan for Kawhi Leonard. The next year they win an NBA title.
You don't think that plus LeBron leaving's a big change?
Boston Celtics at the time were an up and cut. The Boston Celtics at that time were kind of like what Oklahoma City was in those early stages with Harden, Westbrook, and Durant.
I can't agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
But they were a really good team. And don't forget the 2015 60 win Hawks.
Well, they was pretenders. That whole team was pretenders.
The Toronto is pretty much pretentious too.
I mean, but LeBron was out there with Timofey Mozgov, man, Iman Shumpert, Dellavedova.
But did they face a two-time MVP plus Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton? And the point that I bring up, Rich, this guy right here, Rich, tried to compare Chris Middleton to Chris Bosh. If Chris Middleton is anywhere close to Chris Bosh, you add that with a 2-time MVP. That's like Bron trying to take down that Heat team. I mean, that's like KD trying to take down the Heat team by himself.
Why are you bringing up old stuff? I didn't even remember that. You just reminded me that I said that.
Because it was outlandish.
Chris Middleton's a great player.
I love to disrespect Chris Middleton as a number 2.
Listen. Wait. You know what? Wait. Time out. Man, KD went to the Warriors and was beating up on Brown while he was by himself. He was having the time of his life out there. Yeah. So we ain't got no sympathy. We have no sympathy.
My thing is, all the years that Bron ran through the Eastern Conference, right? Has those Eastern Conference been as good as the Eastern Conference was this year?
No.
Hold up. If we're gonna do that, for the Boston Celtics was still elite. Yes, they were starting to get on a downward spiral, but the Boston Celtics were still elite.
Which Boston Celtics?
With Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce and Ray Allen until he left.
Right.
Oh, okay. Actually, no. I can't say that. That would be close. You know what team? The 2011 Heat, when they had to beat Derrick Rose Bulls and the Celtics.
Yes, the Bulls too. And the Indiana Pacers should have went to the NBA Finals in 2014. An egregious error to take Roy. I know it sounds crazy now, but at the time he wasn't trash. An egregious error to take Roy Hibbert out at the end of that game to just let Bron go right up the lane to win a game for the Heat.
Sure, but I still don't think the Eastern Conference was as good as it is now with Philly and Milwaukee there.
If you're talking about when he was with the Heat, I think it's exactly as good as it is now.
I think this is the best Eastern Conference in 20 years.
Exactly. The Eastern Conference. Bron was running through the Eastern Conference like it was nothing.
I ain't agreeing with that. I ain't agreeing with that.
Yes, the Eastern Conference was not all that. It was like
Philly ain't even that good, if we being honest.
All right, so name a team from those early years that's better than this Phillies team.
Celtics.
The Celtics. The Bulls. I think the Bulls.
All right, the Celtics. That's it. I'm giving you the Celtics. And the Celtics is based off experience.
I think Derrick Rose's Chicago Bulls are as equally talented to this Philly team.
You telling me Ben Simmons and Embiid is getting Rondo, KG, Ray Allen, and Paul Pierce out here?
I'll give you the Celtics. That's based off experience. That's based off because they
punk any of these teams in the Eastern Conference right now.
This Philly team is better than that Bulls team. That Bulls team didn't even have two like superstars. You can say Philly has two superstars.
Kim Noah was in the MVP conversation.
Wait, what's two superstars the Philly got?
They have Ben and Embiid.
Yo, y'all gotta stop with Ben Simmons, man. Y'all gotta stop this.
So he's a star. So Ben is a star, right? If Ben is a star, they still have a superstar and a star. The Bulls had Derrick Rose.
Joakim Noah was in the MVP conversation.
All right. Rich,
how many points is Ben Simmons averaging in this series?
Hold on. Does anyone agree with his Joakim Noah point? Because that
is a fact.
Now, Joakim Noah was a player. Joakim Noah was a player.
He was a defensive player.
That's exactly what Ben Simmons is, though. He's a defensive player.
But he also runs your offense. Ben Simmons runs your offense.
In the NBA.
No, he really don't, though, especially in the fourth quarter. Yo, I swear to God, if you really pay attention, Ben Simmons just does the dribble handoffs, and he's a good screen setter now.
I'm
not joking. I'm not. I swear I'm not.
If you look at the rosters, you would say Philly has at least a superstar and a star. You can say the Bulls
I would agree. No, I would agree with your point. I was just talking about the Ben Simmons part.
The Bulls had D Rose.
And Joakim Noah.
Bro, nobody is believing that Joakim. Someone has to agree with you on this Joakim Noah point. He was a good defensive, hard-playing guy. That was it. That's all he did.
With me, Jay just agreed with me.
That
it's close because they had Noah, they had Dang.
Joakim Noah
Boozer was an.
Joakim Noah was a multiple-time All-Star. He was in the MVP conversation at one point. And he was always one of the top defenders in the.
Luol Deng made a few All-Star teams too, I believe.
Joakim Noah was never in the MVP conversation. I need to.
Nah, he was.
I need proof.
He was. Nah, he was.
What
I
year?
swear to God.
What year?
2014, I believe it was.
Not like a boat.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But Derrick
Also,
Rose-
all right. Is Joakim Noah better than Ben Simmons?
Shit, right now.
Yo. Yo, it's that close. I swear that Ben Simmons hype train, I'm all the way off of it. Because I just don't get it.
I think the guy. How old is Ben Simmons? Ben Simmons is a very youngster.
Listen. I get he's young, but he's been doing the same thing for like a good 3 years now. Like, well, he can't even attempt to shoot.
All right. Well, my point here is, yes,
Heard up on my own show.
KD. I will not knock him for losing this series for the fact that I just think that the Bucks, if you look at it, the Bucks have the better team right now. They have a 2-time MVP. They have Chris Middleton, who's equal to Chris Bosh, and then they still have Drew Holiday, who's a solid defender. And KD's going out there with freaking Bruce Brown, who's really like a center point guard.
You were saying the same thing.
Yeah. Only thing I'm saying is that didn't stop LeBron 3 and 6 jokes.
Okay. Okay. Let me ask you another question. You see KD supporting Cass right now, right? Would you rather have LeBron supporting Cass from 2015 or KD supporting Cass right now?
KD's now.
The 3-point.
No.
He's got the 3-point champion on his. He's got
when Kyrie went down in 2015. When Kyrie went down in 2015, it was Dellavedova, Shumpert, Mozgov.
But they were already in the finals.
And Tristan Thompson.
The team was trash.
But they were already in the finals.
No, bro.
Even before the finals, though, I believe Kyrie missed the Hawks series.
Who was in that second half of KD last game? Yeah, like Bruce Brown.
Blake Griffin.
Yeah, and he keeps disrespecting Blake Griffin like
Blake Griffin didn't play the last 20 minutes of the game. He didn't play the last 20 minutes. Rich, you text me and said, "Where's Blake Griffin at?" He wasn't in the game.
Yeah, everybody was wondering that. That's a coaching error on Steve Nash.
So he didn't have Blake Griffin. He wasn't out there.
What about your boy Joe Harris? You've been hyping up Joe Harris. You been saying he's one of the greatest shooters.
I never said nothing like that. In my life. Stop. He's a 3-point shooter. That's it. And then
I don't know where his jumper went.
First of all, and it's easier to guard them now because you're just gonna send like 2 at KD and you stay home on Joe Harris. Who else is gonna score for them after that?
Wait, maybe it's PJ Tucker.
Go ahead, Don.
Does he have KD's number?
We could put a lot of stock at the end of that game because they weren't. First off, Brooklyn couldn't game plan without Kyrie. You know what I'm saying? Just they didn't plan for the game to go that way. So I think there was a lot of shock value. A lot of the guys were down. You know what I'm saying? But I think ultimately they could play with the Bucks without Kyrie. I got one question.
I got one question. It's also Steve Nash's fault because KD was trying to run the point too much. They should have never had him on ball like that because it was too easy to guard him like that.
I got a question though. Does Steve Nash game plan at all? You want to talk about gym teacher? Steve Nash has 3 of the best ISO players I'd have ever seen. It looks like he just goes out there and go get buckets.
Well, do you know how many different starting lineups they had this year that Steve Nash had to put together, man? I think the number is higher than 50, 60 starting lineups. I mean, you got to understand that there's been different cast members all year.
Remember they said, remember when they hired Steve Nash, Kyrie was like, we don't even need a coach.
But I think Steve Nash has done a hell of a job, man. The offense that is being run by the Nets is very complex. Pick and rolls, double actions. They do a lot, man. Look at Mike James. Have you ever heard of Mike James? I mean, he's balling. You know what I'm saying? You got a lot of guys that we never heard of. Claxton, you know what I'm saying? Brown, that's all Steve Nash. You know what I'm saying? I give the Nash a lot of credit.
I know Mike D'Antoni was basically the offensive coordinator on his staff. They kept the assistant over there, who's one of the top assistants. So I mean, he's got help over there. For sure. I mean, it's been great. It's been a great show, guys. I know the game's about to start soon. We definitely got to do this again.
Yeah, I'm gonna be back. We gotta talk about what's happens after these series.
Yeah, man, we gotta finish this KD. We gotta finish this KD thing.
Absolutely.
So we gonna go at Kayson with KD
All right,
doesn't make.
and because of what you guys said, the Bucks just talked themselves into 50 tonight.
They ain't hear us. We ain't that popular.
I'm gonna call, bro. The Bucks
yet.
talked themselves into 50 tonight.
We're gonna see. I'm ready for this game. Let's get it.
50.
Yeah, for sure, man. Want to thank Dante and Jay for coming on again. Got this game going on. Who you guys? Before we go, who's winning tonight? Who's winning tonight?
Bucks.
Bucks.
Before I make my predictions, I like to look at the lines, and right now the line is 2 for the Bucks, and I think that's a suspicious number. So I think Brooklyn's gonna win.
If Harden can't be 100% or at least like 75%, it's gonna be the Bucks.
Like they say on the Yes Network, I'm going with Brooklyn.
You know what?
50
If
for KD,
Harden,
though.
if Harden really cashed up that girl 100,000, they're gonna win.
All right, we gotta go because the game started.
So, man, I want to thank Dante for coming on. Thank you guys for the support. 100 subscribers. We need to get more up in here. And yeah, that's the show. We will see you guys next week. Peace.